Hello, I'm State Senator John Kavanagh, and welcome to another edition of Kavanagh's Corner, my legislative video report to my constituents about what's happening at the Capitol since we're in session with the legislature, with a particular emphasis on what I'm doing. This is the Kavanagh's Corner for the week of January 16th. And, well, I had a pretty busy week. As many of you may know, I am a prolific bill author. A lot of people come to me with bills because I have a good track record of defending and passing them. And when I see things that need to be done, I write a bill. That's what I can do. And it's many bills are based on things that people have said to me or things that I read in the paper or seen on TV that I think need correcting. So there were 11 bills of mine that went through and passed out of committee this week. 2 of them stalled because of problems. I had them held, and I'll be reworking them. But let's talk about the 11 bills that I got out of committee this week. The first is Senate Bill 1001, Pronouns, Biological Sex, and School Policies. A lot of woke teachers are complying with the wishes of some students who are called transgendered, who want to be referred to by pronouns or by first names that do not align with their biological sex at birth. Now, these students have problems. Students that are confused in this manner often exhibit anxiety, depression, and some even have suicidal thoughts. So my policy says before a school employee can refer to a student with this mismatched gender or name, they have to have parental permission. This is about parental rights. Parents need to know if their children have this conflict so that the parents can help the child or perhaps get outside psychological help. Schools should not be allowed to keep parents willfully blind of serious problems with their potentially serious problems with their children. In addition, my bill says that a school employee that has a sincere religious or moral objection to referring to somebody with a name or pronoun not aligned with their biological sex, they do not have to do that. The next bill that I did was municipal notices and ordinances posting. When there was a big controversy 2 years ago at the Scottsdale School District over mask and vaccine mandates, I showed up one day to testify, and I got there about 20 minutes before the meeting was due to start, only to be told that there was no longer enough seating room for me to go in and that I couldn't I couldn't testify. Well, I now have a bill which simply states that the opening time of a meeting when people are let in and the meeting start have to be posted on the agenda so people know when the doors are open so they can get there. And if a school district has enough space and they anticipate a large crowd, they have to move to a larger room like an auditorium. And I hopefully that bill will pass and people will get input. The third bill was the Nuclear Emergency Management Appropriation. This simply allows the operators of the Palo Verde nuclear power plant to utilize monies that they collected from the owners of the plant to reimburse local emergency responders for their emergency plan to comply with federal law that they have a plan to evacuate people if there were an incident, which we don't expect to happen. My next one is Senate Bill 1009, Criminal Damage Monuments and Memorials. This bill first came to mind and I first introduced it several years ago when woke crowds of demonstrators were toppling statues of public figures that they didn't like or otherwise defacing them. My bill enhances the penalty for when you damage a statue or memorial to somebody or some event. Right now it has the same penalty as if you damage a glass window or spray paint a brick wall. My bill says if it's a monument or memorial, we enhance the penalty because you're damaging something that's more than just an object or the side of a building. You're damaging something which the public has erected to memorialize a person or event, and that's more serious. SB 1011 is municipal partisan elections. Now, I'm not creating partisan elections in municipalities that don't have them. However, most people really don't know that much about the backgrounds of candidates for town council. And if you don't know much about the backgrounds, how can you decide on who to vote for? Well, many people rely on the party membership of the person. So if you tend to be a conservative, you'll pick a Republican candidate. If you tend to be liberal, you'll pick a Democrat candidate. But the problem is, for most municipal elections, there is no such designation. So my bill says that if a municipality wants to, they can vote to have the party registration of the town council candidates placed on the ballot next to their name to give people a little bit more information. SB 1013, colleges, universities, free speech zones. Too many of our public colleges and community colleges do not allow robust free speech. What they do is they say only certain parts of the campus are free speech areas, and only there can you hand out pamphlets or talk or give speeches or try to convince people of things. That's not the way it was when I went to college in the late 1960s. I went to NYU in downtown New York in Greenwich Village, and those were turbulent times in the late 60s with the war in Vietnam controversy and other social controversies astir. And you know what we had at NYU? Total free speech. Any place you were legally allowed to go, you could have free speech, you could give out pamphlets, as long as you weren't disrupting a class with noise or blocking people's way. And that's the way it should be at all colleges. Colleges are supposed to be places where students learn to think, where students are challenged. So we don't need any snowflakes who are protected from other views. So the whole college campus becomes a free speech zone, as long as you're not disrupting things or blocking people. And I even spoke to President Crow of ASU, and he totally supports this concept. SB 1021, Attorney General, Legislature. Last year I passed a bill that was signed into law that said that people could not photograph with their cell phone cameras police officers engaged in law enforcement activities within 15 feet of the officer, because it's a distraction and it can possibly cause injury to the officer due to the distraction. The law passed, it was signed by the governor, it was challenged by the ACLU, and a federal judge put an injunction on it. This is the point where our Attorney General should have stepped in and defended the law. Maybe he would not have been successful, but at least I would know what the problems were so that I could fix it. But instead, Attorney General Brnovich decided not to defend the law. He's the state Attorney General. His job is to defend the law. So my bill says our Attorney General does his job and he defends the law. However, because there could be some laws that do have serious constitutional problems that come up after passage, my bill has a safety valve. If 2/3 of the members of the House Judiciary Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee vote not to defend, then the Attorney General would be relieved of that responsibility. And then there's SCR 1001. This is not a law, this is a statement. And the statement basically says that the legislature does not believe that we should defund the police. The legislature believes that we should use evidence-driven law enforcement strategies. And the legislature also believes that we should try to do not just law enforcement with people with criminal activity, but some sort of training, rehabilitation, and counseling. So it's a bill that everybody can support and which everybody voted for. So that one worked out pretty good. So those are my 11 bills, and I've got plenty more coming next week. Because again, I do believe, I take the job lawmaker very seriously, and I run a lot of bills for people, and I run a lot of bills that I think are needed. As a matter of fact, as of today, there are about 100 bills that have been dropped into the Senate clerk's offices, and over 30 of them are my bills, and they're good bills. And if you keep watching Kavanagh's Corner, you'll learn more about my bills and their progress. So again, this is State Senator John Kavanagh signing off from this week's Kavanagh's Corner. Thanks for watching.